Hi, my name's Anna, and I am God. I'm the real Christ of this world, and I really would love to have interviews where I talk to people about questions, about things that they would like to ask God. Unfortunately, the people who come across my videos don't take me seriously, and they don't take my belief seriously. But I found someone online who has 36 questions that they would like to ask God, and I would just like to kind of show their questions versus all the things that I would like to respond in a way.
Why do you allow suffering? Why?
Okay, that question, why do you think I can stop suffering? Why do you think I can end suffering? The human soul has actually evolved from being in animal bodies. So you would have once been an ant, and then you died, and then came back as an ant, and then came back as an ant, and then you would have become like a leader of an ant, and then you would have gone into different bug forms, and then you would have become like a mouse, and then you would have been a bird, and then you would have gone through, and part of learning is suffering. You have to experience lots of stuff. You know things are wrong when you've suffered from things, and that's how you learn, that's how you evolve. Without suffering, you wouldn't realize what suffering is, and therefore it's kind of important that you suffer, because part of the suffering is realizing, trying to work out yourself why you are suffering. If something is wrong in your life, why is it wrong? You know, if you thought that cheating on your partner was not a problem, then you're going to cheat. But if you've been cheated on and you really love someone, and then you find that they've done this, you know, you might find yourself suffering, but at the same time you would understand why you suffer and why you shouldn't cheat, and you'll learn and you'll develop. And this is just how suffering happens, because other people make you suffer, and the reason why other people make you suffer is because they don't see it as them hurting you, or if they do see it as them hurting you, they don't seem to care. But part of them not caring is that they haven't actually experienced the sort of thing that you are going through, hence they haven't recognized it as suffering. But it's only a matter of time before something comes around, and the situations change, and karma comes back, and they'll suffer in the same way that you have, because of different circumstances that they'll go through, and then they'll learn to evolve and change. And suffering is just part of evolution, it's part of change. And it's not that I allow suffering. You know, I don't understand why people think that God can do everything, and why God allows suffering. I don't allow suffering. It's just part of life. It's part of being alive. I have evolved through time by my own suffering, and through my own suffering I have learned to become a God and to evolve. And in that same way, you're just going to have to go through the same shit that I've gone through, because that's just it's evolution. So that's the question.
Why do good, faithful people die in natural disasters? Why?
One, how do you know these are good, faithful people? I mean, if you don't know me, then how do you know who's faithful to me and who's not? I am Christ. I am a woman. Do I look like Jesus? No. How many people do you know worship Christ as some blonde woman? None. How many people think that God is a female? None. So you have no clue who the people of God really are, because you have no clue of who God is. And therefore, you thinking that people worship God just because they've adopted this name, and they say we worship God, and then, you know, this is God, God can do all this. How do you know that that's the real truth about what God is and what God is like? You know, you don't know God, so you don't know who's faithful to God and who's not. Even if someone was faithful to me, technically, can I actually stop them from, you know, if they date someone who's being unfaithful, can I actually stop that? No, it's not my choice, it's not my life, and it's, you don't understand God. If you think that I can control people's lives, that's not part of God's that's not one of her to-do lists. She just allows people to live. Suffering happens, and it's not my right. It's not my right to control people's lives and to tell people what they do. You know, if you have a child and then you adopt that child, and that child grows up suffering because she doesn't like her adopted parents, you know, this is not got anything to do with me. I did not make that child. I did not choose you to adopt that. I did not choose any of this, and therefore to think that you have the right to almost blame it on me, blame other people's choices on me. I just think it's very unfair on me, and I'm enjoying. I think drinking is a good thing to do.
Why would you give innocent children terminal illnesses or genetic deformities?
Why do I give children deformities? Why do you think I give children deformities? The Matrix has 8 billion people to grow. The Matrix is not going to get it right every single time. You know, it's the more people you make, the more deformities are going to be formed through it because of just there being so many people here, and also human souls are kind of inspired by some sort of spirit that is connected to me, and I cannot grow 8 billion souls, and I feel like the Matrix knows that I cannot do this, hence it might be forming deformities. I'm not making it happen. To accuse me that to say that if a child is disabled because of me, I feel like that is completely unfair. Why are you blaming these deformities on me when this has got nothing to do with me? I'm busy. Not yet. In half an hour.
Seriously, a talking snake?
A talking snake, yes, there is tons of faults, there's tons of lies in the Bible, and part of the talking snake was actually to tell people that this isn't the truth. Are you aware of this not being the truth? You know, there's a lot of people that take the Bible seriously, and the fact that there's a talking snake in the Bible is actually a proof or indication that you shouldn't take everything in the Bible as being literal, because if you think a talking snake is real, you know, if you hate Christianity, why would you hate Christianity when there's a talking snake in it? I mean, you should hate the people that think that there was a talking snake on earth. I mean, that would make more sense. If God is real, maybe God has added this talking snake in there as a way of just proving that the fools who believe every word of it are fools, because there is no talking snake. You know, if you don't like Christianity, why would you insult the fact that there's a talking snake? You could actually be like, I'm glad God put a talking snake in there. Why? Because that's evidence that the Bible isn't the truth. It can't be the truth because talking snakes don't actually exist. But yeah, the snake actually is representing of Anaconda and Anaconda, because that snake was actually just another representation of me, and the snake actually gave some truth to Eve, because I am Eve, and I have returned, and I am going to be like as God. So the snake was right, but yeah, technically the snake was not actually real. It's just a fictional character, just like a lot of the things in the Bible. But yeah, if you haven't worked that out, then I think you're a bit stupid.
If you know our fate, then why should we bother with prayer? It's like praying for a movie to have a different ending, even though it's already been written. See? It's kind of pointless.
Why do you think that I have told people to pray? I mean, I did not write the Bible. The Bible was not written by me. I don't want you to accuse me of doing things just because humans have do them. I don't pray. I've never prayed in my life. I think the only time I've ever prayed is when my granny has made me food, and she has expected me as a child to pray. But I think by the time I got to age 12, I was trying to make it very clear that the only people that I wanted to pray to were the farmers who helped grow this food. Thank you, farmers, for growing this food. You know, there's no harm in saying that. My granny was not very impressed though. But yeah, that is the only type of prayer that I've done since I've been mildly aware of how ridiculous the religion was. But yeah, to say that God has asked people to pray just because preachers and people who claim to worship God say that they should pray, you know, I praying is hope, and it's like hope, but I find that hope turns out to usually be false hope in this world. So I don't like how people would accuse me of doing things that I haven't done. I do not tell people to pray unless, of course, I'm just trying to be a bit hopeful. maybe I might say you can pray for something, even if it's not going to happen. It provides a bit of hope. But yeah, I don't have much hope in hope, let's just say that. But yeah, don't accuse me of doing things that humans have done.
Which prayers do you listen to, and which ones do you ignore?
Technically, I actually prefer to ignore all prayers because I don't give a shit about humans. I mean, I don't feel like they give a shit about me, so it's like, why should I care about them when they don't care about me? If my house burnt down, how many people would actually be like they would be sorry, yeah, but I feel like I don't feel like they would care, and I just feel like how I would feel about how they would feel about my house burning or my house burning down. I think it would be a similar kind of way to how I would feel about them. I feel like this whole world is just full of false love, and you know, you don't want people's houses to burn down, but you, at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. And I've forgotten what the question was. What was the question? I have no idea what the question was, but what was the question? I'm just have to go back on the question.
Which ones do you ignore? How do I...
The prayers. The only thing that I care about when it comes to prayers are, I think it's important that if you die and get reincarnated, it's important that you get the sex right. I would like to believe that if you want to be a male, you'll come back as a male, and if you want to be a female, you'll come back as a female. I think that is the only thing that I'm happy being a female, and I would not want to have a male body. I know the majority of people think that Christ or God is male, and I don't like that. I like pink, I like being girly, I like people opening doors for me, and I like being able to cross over a road if I wear a short skirt, and if I was trying to cross over a road and I was a guy wearing a short skirt, I don't think that many people would stop. So I like, that's the only thing that I like about that's the only thing that I want people to live a kind of similar life, according to what I feel the world has given me. And my life has been really, really, really shit, that I don't think there's much that I've really enjoyed in my life. But the one thing that I've enjoyed is being female. I'm glad I'm the sex that I want to be, and therefore, because of that, I feel like if I was going to answer prayers, the only one that I would really be interested in is to know what kind of sex you would be in your next life. Now, okay, if you are a male and you want to be a male again in your next life because you think women are stupid, or because you think they're dumb, or you think they're not very intelligent, or just fools, then I want you to be a female, because I want you to pay for the sort of sexism that you have felt. So if you want to be the same sex that you are because you don't believe the other sex is intelligent, then I want you to be the opposite sex. But other than that, if that's the only thing that I would really, but I don't think it's me that does it, I think it's the Matrix. So you have to make a wish to make a prayer or a wish to the Matrix about what sex you want to be in your next life. I feel like that is the only wish that I really care about. I mean, I do like answering, if I like people, then I would want to make them happy, but if I don't like people, then I don't want to make them happy. Yeah, but yeah, if you want to go into details about all the things that you want in your life, if I never got them, part of me would just be like, well, I never got that. You wish for an expensive car, you wish for a nice big house, well, I never got any of those things, so I really don't care if you never get those things, because I never got those things. You want to be able to pay for heating during the winter. Well, I never had a heating or hot water in my house in winter, so I don't care how you live your life or anything, because I didn't experience that. So that's when it comes to prayers, I'd feel like if you've lived a life that's worse than mine, then I might feel like I'd want to answer your prayers. And if I like you, of course. If I don't like you, and if I've seen that you've done a ton of terrible things for other people, I'm not going to care. And with the majority of people, I think I just don't care, because I feel like they've probably had a better life than me.
How do I know when you're talking to me or I'm just talking to myself?
The majority of people who think that they talk to God they're not talking to God. The majority of people who hear voices in their head and want to make up that this is God talking to them, I really don't think they're talking to God. So how do you know the difference? Well, I think you should just assume that the voice in your head is just you or your spirit. You shouldn't see it as God. Maybe God is in there. I think my higher self has definitely been inspiring the songs and music. So if you want to write a song, I feel like my higher self might be contacting you, but I feel like actually that's the only way. When I listen to people who claim to be bringing information from God, I feel like there's only truth when they're a singer and a celebrity who's successful and have managed to link to my higher self through this hidden name. Or films. There's a lot of films that I feel like a lot of people can connect to me, but it's through imagination. It's through, that my higher self has been connecting with you. Well, technically, if it's been connecting to me, and if I like it, and if it's made my if I've enjoyed watching a film or a song. But yeah, really, I think the majority of the connection is just imagination. So I would not encourage people to start thinking that the voice in their head is God, because I feel like that's when people start getting deceived and start believing lies.
What am I going to do in heaven? Because an eternity of doing the same thing over and over again doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
In answer to that, heaven is just a nice place on earth, and hell is just a bad place on earth. And so if you think about all the things you can do on earth, all the things that you would like to do, okay, you might be poor, you might not be able to afford it, but heaven, I guess, is where you're in a position where you can afford it and you can enjoy it. And yeah, if you like going to the salon, okay, you're going to have to go over and over and over to the salon, but end up looking a lot nicer than me. So yes, I would love to have if I had the money to have someone do up my hair, that would make me feel better. But yes, that is being in heaven, where you can know, but you have to know what you like and what you don't like, and that is how you get into heaven, by just finding things that you enjoy and enjoy the fact that you can afford to do that stuff.
And I'm pretty sure the things a lot of people want to do over and over again are probably the sort of things you don't allow in heaven in the first place.
I have no restrictions.
How can you offer unconditional love and threaten people with eternal damnation?
I do not offer eternal love. That is the Bible you're confusing me with. I did not write the Bible. I am not claiming to be the God of the Bible. And I do not claim to love people. I think people just want God to love them. Hence, they have created this God that loves them, because this is the best way that they can control people through this false love. But yes, and I don't promise to damn people either. But I like the fact that people are threatened, because I feel like some people are very evil and they need this threat that they might go to hell to control them, because if they didn't have this threat, they'd be a terrible person.
Those two things don't seem to go together. How can I enjoy heaven if someone I love is burning in hell?
There's no such thing as burning in hell. It's just a fictional threat that I don't care. If people want to believe that, people will believe that. If you want to believe that, then you'll believe that. But yes, people will say and promote. I didn't ask them to promote this. I didn't tell them. I have no idea where this burning in hell thing came from, but I feel like I'm glad that it has come, because there are some terrible people that need this threat to be good. You shouldn't just look at the bad. You should look at the good that can come out of bad. There is good and bad in everything. And if people want to tell people that, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell forever, I think that's a terrible thing for them to do. I didn't ask them to do that or anything. So don't think that I asked them to do that. But at the same time, if they're people spreading this, bad people who think that God might do this to people, they are people that are probably bad themselves. They are the type of person that would burn people alive for thousands of years and not care. And because they are the type of person that are like that, they would think that God is like that, because they would assume that God is like them. So what people believe is often a reflection of what they are. if you were God and you could burn people alive for thousands of years and not care, would you do that? And if you think you would, then your God is going to be of a similar level to you, because most people see themselves as being God, but they don't want to admit to that. So they see God as being at the same level as them. So anyone who believes that God would burn people alive for eternity, I think they're people you should watch out for, because I think they're people that would burn people alive for thousands of years and not care, and they would do that because they don't care, and hence because they believe this, they would, or feel this, they would believe that God too agrees with them and feels in a similar way to them. But this is not what I said.
Isn't it pretty messed up that a kind, loving atheist and an evil, genocidal maniac would both suffer the same sort of eternal punishment in your eyes?
Don't think that you know what I'm seeing through my eyes, because what I'm seeing through my eyes is a guy who's judging me based on something that has nothing to do with me. I did not write the Bible, okay? I might have inspired it, but I've inspired a lot of things, and there's good and bad in everything. Now, if there are some terrible people in the world, don't you think that they would love that Bible because they are terrible? I didn't make them terrible. Human souls have come from animal souls, and animals can be terrible because part of their programming is to kill to survive, and this is where evil comes from. And when they become human, they don't change, and they have warped beliefs. But yes, don't you think it's wrong for you to assume that you know what I see and what I believe and what I say, and just to assume that because other people are saying it, that that I agree with it? If there's a ton of people saying that Madonna says this or Madonna says that, Madonna doesn't actually agree with that, but don't you think it's wrong to say that because other people have said it, that therefore Madonna thinks that way or believes that way? I mean, that is completely wrong, and therefore you shouldn't say that I have said something because someone else has said that I have said something.
Why are your followers so annoying?
Why do you think they are my followers? Do I look like Jesus? Do I look like the thing that Christians worship? They are not my followers. They are not my people. Don't say that they're my people when you don't know who I am.
Why are your commandments so misguided?
Why do you think the Bible are my commandments? I don't agree with them. No, I don't agree with them. When I first found out that I was God and I read the commandments, I was like, what the fuck is this about? It doesn't make any sense. I would not say this. And then I realized that actually people 2,000 years ago were like idiots, and they believed whatever they wanted to believe, and they didn't have the truth because their ability to connect to me was very, very slim. Hence, the majority of stuff that they said in that wasn't actually the truth, but there was truth to it because it was what people wanted to believe back then. It's not my fault that people wanted to believe that. So don't say that because something is written in the Bible, it therefore means that I agree with it. You thinking that I agree with it, that is where I have the problem.
I mean, there's just no sense of priority there. You ban worshipping false idols and taking your name in vain, but not slavery or rape.
Well, I didn't agree with any of those things, but technically I made animals, or at least I've helped make all the different species, and rape is just part of being an animal, and slavery, it's fine to enslave bad people. Now, in the past, everyone was bad, and okay, a lot of people suffered from some slavery, but through suffering, you know that slavery is wrong. Now, if you had never gone through that slavery, you would never know that slavery is wrong, because you'd just be enjoying the fact that you have a slave. It's only when you become a slave do you realize that slavery is wrong. But if the only way you can realize that slavery is wrong is by being a slave and being forced to be a slave, then you're going to learn, then you're going to achieve. And you know what? Being a slave actually forces you to work, and it forces you to learn things because you are working. It forces you into some sort of routine where you feel like you need to work, and if you don't just work, and if you are just a slave owner, part of you would always be, that thing will be bugging you. Is this right or is this wrong? And of course, slavery is wrong, and that will always bother you, and therefore, you can learn things in it from being both, but I feel like you need to be both for you to fully understand what it's like to be both. And don't Don't blame me for things that people needed to experience to learn what is right and what is wrong.
Rape. With all the different religions, not to mention all the different kinds of Christianity, why don't you just settle the question once and for all, instead of speaking through ambiguous messages that can be interpreted in so many different ways?
The reason why is because people can't hear me, people can't speak to me, people don't know the truth. I have known that I'm God for 11 years, and I've tried to make lots of videos, I've tried to contact people. People aren't interested. People just want to believe whatever they want to believe. Now, if I told you that I was God, you too would probably just think that I was one more mad person. How can I talk to you when even when I have a physical body, even when I can tell you all the evidence, you still wouldn't believe me? You know, part of people's ego and having this ego is that the fact that they just want to believe whatever they want to believe. Now, if I am fighting a bunch of people who only want to believe whatever they want to believe, how am I supposed to tell them the truth when all they want to believe is whatever they want to believe? That is the problem that I have with free will, but because you have free will, it means you get to be alive.
If you really wanted our sins to be forgiven, why did you have to kill your son to do it?
I didn't kill my son. That is a lie. I have birthed humans, and everyone dies, even I die, and that is just part of life. You die and then you get a new body, and that is if you have lived many lives, you will realize that death isn't as bad as what you think it is. Now, if you really thought that dying was a terrible thing, why? Why do you think that dying is a terrible thing when technically you just get a new body? Maybe it's because you haven't had enough new bodies for you to realize that actually death isn't such a bad thing.
That's like what the mafia would do. Why don't you stop playing hide and seek with us and just show yourself?
I've been trying to show myself for 11 years. No one gives a fuck.
And for real, not through little kids who visit you in heaven.
Yes, I have been for real. For 11 years I've been making videos. For 11 years I've been trying to talk to people. I've told a lot of my clients, and all they want is just for me to be naked. That's about it. So, you know what? Whatever you're saying, it's ridiculous, because if I told you that I was God, you just wouldn't believe me.
Heaven. Or through toast. Seriously.
Through toast? What are you talking about? I'm just going to draw a picture of myself on toast. One, I can't do that. That's not how the physical realm works.
Toast? Why do you seem to answer the prayers of rich athletes who want to win a game, but not of starving children who are on the brink of death?
There are way too many people in this world, and if there are starving children, it's because there's too many people here, and I'm trying to reduce the population. Why? Because I can't cope with looking after 8 billion people. Why do you assume that I can look after 8 billion people, and yet you don't seem to appreciate the fact that 8 billion people are alive? You know, I mean, I don't think this should be the case. I think it should be more like 2 billion. But yeah, why are you only looking at the negatives and not recognizing the fact that maybe the reason why is because I can't talk to people, and if I did come down as a human and try to tell people, they would just tell me that I'm crazy and that they don't believe anything that I'm saying. You know, I've been making videos for a very long time. Very few people are passing this message on. What can I do? What can I do in reality?
If your word is so inerrant, then how come all religious people seem to think all the other religious people are so wrong?
Why do you think? I don't know what inherent word means. I'm dyslexic. I don't really know inherent. I don't know what that means. Why do you think my words... Come on, I can say a lot of contradicting statements and agree with both statements. Why do you think you know me is the question. Why do you think you have the right to judge me when you don't know anything about me?
If fetuses are innocent, shouldn't we be thanking abortion doctors for sending them to heaven?
The heaven, I don't think that fetuses are innocent. I think they're not alive, and they're just like an organ that is growing, and the organ only gets a soul when it's born. And yeah, why do you think you know things that you don't really know?
If thou shalt not kill is one of your commandments, then how come Christians love guns so much?
Christians aren't my people, and I you shouldn't kill, because that is just something you need to tell people because it's kind of, I guess, politically correct. But yeah, it's true that most Christians worship the end of days, hence they love the idea of God coming and killing everyone. But yes, it's...
Why won't you heal amputees?
How am I supposed to do that? I'm not a doctor. Why do you think that I can just why do you think God has some sort of magical power? Tell me, why do you think God has a magical power to do that?
If I'm sick, should I pray to you or go see a doctor?
A doctor.
And if I should do both, well, which one would help me more?
I can't help you at all. I'll just tell you to get lost, and I don't like this video, so yeah, I would tell you that I don't give a shit about you.
Why didn't you hire an editor for the Bible?
Because the Bible was written by people that were very uneducated and thought the world was flat. How am I going to get an editor to what? I was working with the most intelligent people that were alive back then, but this was 2,000 years ago. There weren't that many intelligent people alive back then.
Because it's long, boring, full of contradictions, and really repetitive.
Not my fault. I did not write it.
Why is your last name Dammit?
It's not. My last name's B.
Was it hard for your son growing up in the Middle East, being the only white kid in the neighborhood?
I didn't have a son there. I had a son in Jerusalem, but I'm pretty sure he was hairy. I think it was Lucifer, and he was full of hair. Why do you think you know what my son was like? And I don't even really know what my son was like, because in this new body, I have no memory of it. But yeah, he was... Why do you think Jesus was my son? Is the question. What? Because you've read a Bible and you just assume that that's the truth because the Bible said so? Well, I don't agree with the Bible.
What do you have against foreskin?
That's not my choice. I'm happy if the what's that? I don't even know what it's called. The removal of the foreskin. I think the father should decide whether that. I don't have a penis, so I have no idea. I don't know. I have no opinion on that.
How do magnets work?
The positive and negative are drawn to each other. That's the Matrix that did that. I don't know.
How come your son supposedly died for my sins, but you brought him back to life? You went back on your word. Why? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll be sure to check it out.
You don't. Jesus is not my son, and I think I've just skipped. Jesus is not my son.
You went back on your word. Why do you get all of the credit, but none of the blame? Who broke your...
What are you talking about? I'm the devil. I get all the blame. I have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know me, and you don't know anything about... Whatever.
Your heart so badly that you have to take out your wrath on women.
I am a woman. I don't take my wrath out on women. Guys take their wrath out on women because that's what they want. They want to take their wrath out on me, I think.
Why would you create such a vast universe and then only inhabit one planet?
I didn't. I was grown in this universe, and the people of this universe have just created a fictional religion that I don't agree with. Why do you think that I agree with Christianity just because you think that God agrees with Christianity? I mean, that's just your belief.
Why are so many people allergic to so many of your creations?
I'm allergic, I think, to crab and stuff, but I don't know, it's genetics.
How come our bodies have a sewage system next to an amusement park? I mean, that's just bad design.
What? I have no idea.
How come science keeps proving you wrong?
Science doesn't prove me wrong. I work with science, and I'm happy. I agree with science. Why do you think science doesn't agree with me?
My name is Hemant Mehta, and I write at friendlyatheist.com. What do you want to see a video about? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll be sure to check it out.
I want to see a video about you explaining why I can't be God, why you wouldn't listen to me, why you think that the Bible is more likely to be about God than me, who has truth, and why if I told you about you, would you not even research me? I mean, these are the sort of things that I want to know. But yeah, I want to have loads of interviews with people like this who think that they know God just because they've read the Bible. Why would you read the Bible and think God is this just because the Bible says that God is this?